Well, hey guys, and welcome to another episode of our Birnie Family YouTube and Facebook. And I will get to a proper intro in just a minute, guys, but we've got a kind of major problem. Here in Scotland, we really haven't had a really hot summer. The boiler has barely been on. Obviously, it's for hot water as well, but we just fired it up and it's actually got 2 leaks, which is a bit of an issue. Obviously, we're going to have to fix. Just in here, hopefully you can just see that just in there, like. Obviously what happens over time, guys, it's just the joints get just a little bit loosened off from just lying for a while, and you fire the boiler up for maybe the first time and then boom, you sort of see the leaks. So I'm going to have to actually drain the system, believe it or not. There's just, these 2 pipes are very major, so I have to drain the system. Again, guys, I would never work on the actual gas part of this. That's just absolutely no way. More the sort of plumbing side of it. But as you can see from the electrics and all that, all the water's bits and pieces of the water have went in there, so I have to deal with that as well. So we're going to have to lift the floor and drain the system first. Again, guys, I'll get into this energy efficiency part of the video very shortly, but I just really have to get this job done. And of course, good old Hatch, check it out, obviously, so I can reach the point. And where the boiler is in the house, it's basically at the sort of lowest point the boiler can be in the ground floor. So obviously there's a lot of water up above us in the radiator, so I'm going to have to drain the whole thing to fix these 2 pipes, which is a real pain, but never mind. We'll just have to do it. So let's get in with the big shifter here, and look at this, look. It shows you, look at that, it's just a little turn, just to show you how loose it actually is. Oh, sorry guys, terrible camera work. And that's it. Hello my baby, here she comes for a wee investigate. I don't want you going under the floor, Bailey, flipping out. Right, so that's us draining the system down now. That'll be really good. Hey, hello babykins. Yeah, and of course the idea is, guys, that there is still going to be water up here in the heat exchanger and stuff. So I'm wanting all that water to come out of there so that we can dry up, patch that. That should be okay now, I would have thought. But obviously I'm going to have to let that dry. I'm going to have to clean this and let this dry as well. And hopefully be able to refill the system. And hopefully you'll hear the water drain out of the heat exchanger there, guys. Oh goodness gracious me, here she goes, guys. Birnie Family Fun on TikTok. Goodness me, I don't know how many videos I've got of her. Young David is lying down in his British Army sleeping baggie, son. An Arctic one, because we've no heating in the house at the moment, except from our wood burning stove, which I'll show you in this video as well, guys. But like I said, this video is going to be about energy efficiency in your own home, and it's something that I used to do as a job, so should be able to give you some great advice, eh Bills? Eh? Loves a heat, that thing. We'll have to put the fire on as well, eh Bills? Tell you something, guys. And of course we've got the reptiles, Spike's down in there at the moment, little Elliot the snake's up top. So a few videos on them as well, eh son? But let's get into this video, eh? October holidays. Oh, cup of coffee this time as well, eh? Goodness me, I'm always on the go. So yeah, guys, I'm just letting the system drain just now, and of course David's keeping warm through the house, so we'll get a fire on. But hopefully in this video I want to show you some really easy ways to save on your heating bills, which is a big part of bills, as you homeowners know. But sometimes it's sort of taken to the extreme, and I worked at builders merchants for a long time, and designed heating systems, domestic homes, hotels, bars, and all sorts of different kinds. And of course about 10 years ago, obviously, solar thermal panels came in, and solar panels for electric, and all different sort of weird and wonderful ways to heat your home. And we're kind of there at the beginning, with ground source heat pumps and air source heat pumps and all that sort of stuff, And I was very blessed, guys. My boss, Davey, he was about 40 years as an expert sort of thing, and so I learned from him. And I think Davey done some of the very first heating systems in Scotland, and one of them was Balmoral Castle, believe it or not, as well, so it was really cool. And of course, working with the plumbers, heating engineers and building firms, everything was different, and you had to keep up with the products and all that sort of stuff, And there might be a few new products out now. When I was there, are different models of that particular product, but the idea stays the same, So again, in this video, guys, I want to show you the most inexpensive ways to do things first, before you start throwing in all sorts of different things in your house, you know, the inexpensive ways first, because this is really important. And like I said, you know, I've got this drain at the minute. I'll fix it up, fill it back up again, and hopefully we'll be okay. But so yeah, let's get cracking the video. Let me show you just a few things real quick. And there's the old kitchen, guys. That took a wee bit of work, that one. DIY Dad episodes, but well worth it. We actually did this kitchen on lockdown. But we're not on kitchen duty today, guys. We are on heating duty. So guys, the boiler that we've got in just now is just a gas combi boiler. And that runs your heating and your hot water. And it's probably something that a lot of UK homes have, maybe a little bit more different in the States. But the principles will sort of remain the same. You know, a boiler is there as just like an engine, but it'll only do what you tell it to do. It's like a car. You know, a car engine needs a gearbox, it needs gear selection, it needs all those things, you know, to make sure it's running at absolute efficiency. And it's the same with the boiler, it'll only do what you tell it to do. And generally, you know, there's a time clock on the boiler, which is actually disconnected because we have a programmable room thermostat. And again, this is a fairly simple system. This provides the heating and the hot water. There's a flow and return pipe out to about 12 radiators in the house. And obviously the return comes back up through the heat exchanger, gets heated up again and sent back around the system, and that's how that works. Now we are still in the midst of getting this house all done, guys, you know, so the sort of hallway's halfway there at the moment, but that's not what we're here to look at. We're here to look at this. Now guys, this is a programmable room thermostat. It's basically 3 wires, it's like a plug, and it just plugs into your boiler. But the difference between this and a time clock is that this is measuring the actual heat, you know, which is absolutely brilliant. I'll just quickly show you this because this is cool. So see in the start, guys, you've got Monday to Friday, obviously, and then you've got the weekends as well. And you can set this to whatever time you want, okay? There's 5 settings. So like we do, 19 degrees in the morning, 6 o'clock it comes on. 8 o'clock drops down to 18. Later on in the day, I might have to reset this a little bit. 4 o'clock, the kids come home, up to 19. 6 o'clock, bath time and showers, so that gets sort of bumped up again. And then when it comes to night time, which I think is the last, 17 degrees overnight. Now, just on that note, a lot of people actually switch the boiler off. That's not good, because when you come back to the morning and it's looking for 19 degrees, it's got to build up to that. So if you've got it set just ticking over at 17 degrees, it'll come on and off as it goes along overnight, and then it's not a hard start for the boiler in the morning, you know. So let's see, obviously Saturday and Sunday's a little bit different, obviously. And what we do is I kind of set it to sort of 19 degrees for during the daytime, you know, and that means that's quite low, you know. You really want about 20, 21 degrees, but it means that if you do feel a bit chilly, you can just knock it up. And if you do, later on, you can bring it back down automatically by itself. But basically, guys, that is the engine, you know, that's what tells the engine what to do. And that makes this very efficient indeed, because you've got the true temperature of the house. Yes, the thermostatic radiator valves, guys, which we've got in all over the house. Generally, when you don't really have a room start, you know, you've got like just a timer and that's all. These actually open and close inside with a bit of fluid, and that means that's its correct temperature. What we need to do though is, a properly sized radiator, is actually open these up full tilt, because the programmable room thermostat, that means when it comes on, it's getting the maximum heat to the radiator, and that means that the sooner the place gets warm, the sooner the programmable room start shuts off the boiler, saving the gas. She's always wondering who I'm talking to, aren't you, darling? Yeah, you're always wondering who I'm talking to. But yeah, there's a thermostatic radiator valve on each radiator throughout the house, and that's obviously really good as well. What you find then is that you might find that a couple of the rooms in the house might get a bit hot and whatnot, so you just adjust it to whatever you want, and that fine tunes the system so that you've got it really, really efficient. Now again, it's 11 rooms, this house, you know, it's not a big house as such, but it is 2 stories. So that room start basically governs what's happening down here in the house. You know, that's the sort of main house during the daytime and stuff like that. But what you can do is actually zone the house off. That's the upstairs. This is the downstairs. You can actually split the heating into 2 with what we call a zone valve. Now there's the zone valve there, and hopefully you'll see the pipes. Again, guys, we're still in major redecoration mode, so we are in a bit of a mess. Yes, Billy, yes. And there it goes there. Now this opens and closes depending on what the room start says upstairs. So it decides when this valve actually opens and closes. And as you'll see, these two pipes, that's the flow and return going up to the first floor. And so now guys, we're on to the upstairs one. This is what controls that zone valve, you know, to zone the upstairs. Now the idea behind this, it works exactly the same as the one downstairs. But the idea behind this is, guys, that up in the bedrooms and whatnot, say on a Monday to Friday, kids aren't going to be here, we're not going to be here, there's absolutely no need for the heating system to be on up here, but downstairs it does. So you can set your programmable room thermostat to just the times that you actually use them. This might just come on a little bit later, you know, about 4 o'clock when the kids come home from school, and they'll be up in their bedrooms and all sorts of stuff. And obviously, because on Monday to Friday we can do that, but obviously Saturday, Sundays is different, you know, they could be in the room so all weekend, so you change that as well. But hopefully you can see from that 2 room stats and that zone valve, you know, just how much control you can have, especially if there's different families. You might have 2 kids, you might have no kids, you know, you might live alone. I mean, who knows, you know, set it to your preference. And again, the rule always is, guys, that, you know, the boiler will only do what you tell it to do. It doesn't matter if you've got a biomass boiler or an air source heat pump or anything. Controls are the absolute top of the line. They've got to be the top priority. So these were about, say, £30 each, you know, $45 I would say. Zone valve, maybe the same again. I'm not quite sure the prices these days, but you're basically talking like £100 to £120. Oh me, oh my, look on the stairs, all my lumber. Look, this is for the bathroom. And we've just kind of came back for filming a wild camping, so you see the sleeping bags downstairs. So we have got a lot of work to do in this house before we move on. And of course, the idea of what we're doing just now is we really do want to move on, obviously, and we're looking at an old farm. That's what we really like. So to get this house done, guys. So guys, this is like phase 1. This is what you kind of look at, you know, is the actual controls of your system. So I mean, you know, if you've got thermostatic valves and just normal timers, then that's fairly efficient. That's good. You know, it's not just coming on and off whenever. But with the programmable room thermostats, you are taking complete control over that 7-day period of your lives of what you actually do. And obviously that makes the rooms very comfortable, you know, the right temperatures that you really want to have them at. But it's being controlled all the way. So when you think about it, you know, gas and electricity prices maybe hike up 1 year, you know, and they might cost £200 extra a year, or, you know, $250 a year. You know, you can save that by having the right controls. Easily spend £120, and that is going to make your house really, really efficient. So that's what we have on here. Very simple system. When we come to sell the house, there's no doubt we'll probably put in a heat pump, you know, an air source heat pump or something. You know, gas boilers on their way out, and oil and stuff like that, you know. Maybe not anytime quite soon, but, you know, soon enough. So the system will change a bit. But even with the heat pump, exactly the same thing again. Whether it's anything, thermal store or ground source or whatever, you know, control. So that's probably the most inexpensive way to save a lot of money on your gas. Back through we come, because kids are on holiday at the moment, guys. So guys, you obviously, back when I was working at William Wilson's and doing heating systems, I actually got this stove put into the house. Now it's not really quite central in the house, but it does, but it does heat the whole house when it's on. Now, it's not linked up to provide hot water or anything like that. It's basically what you call a room heater, but it is bigger than what it needs to be for this place. And I'm just going to show you how in just a minute. So the way the fire obviously works, guys, you know, you put in your wood and you fire up, that's great. And it's not just sort of the heat that comes out from there. You know, the first section of pipe is single wall normally. That is a lot of radiated heat. And also, if you build it in such a way with rocks, this brick actually heats up, so does the hearth, and it can be like a little radiator all night, you know. So obviously from here, guys, I just want to show you how sort of central to the house that is. We've basically got it basically open plan. That's the kitchen through there, dining room, playroom. Out there goes up the stairs again. So when this baby is on, I can assure you, I'll tell you, it heats the whole house. Now, something I really want to add to this room, because obviously I've just done this room lately, is a ceiling fan. Now I'm just midway, we've got a hold of a new ceiling fan for up top there, so I'm taking that old one off. Obviously we're still sort of trying to finish the redecoration of this room. But the idea with that, guys, is an added, you know, you're going to get all that lovely radiated heat coming off, and just the natural air in the house will sort of move it around and stuff. But you can force it by putting on a fan up top. And obviously these fans, you can either work pushing the air up or pushing them down. Obviously ours will be pushing down. So as you can imagine, guys, it'll push down like that, you know, it'll push all the air and make it go out the way, and it will go upstairs into the, you know, into the upper rooms of the house. When you actually go upstairs into myself and Sharon's room, you go up into this part here, it goes up and through our bedroom and out top. And actually we get quite a lot of heat from that, from our bedroom, which is just up above here. So obviously, guys, multi-fuel stoves are absolutely awesome. I mean, you cannot go wrong, especially if they're linked up to a bit of hot water, which is awesome. But only a couple of pitfalls, and I really need to explain them real quick. Yeah, these are not pitfalls as such, guys, you know what I mean? But let me get a wee drink of coffee. But there are things you've got to be aware of. In the UK, which I'm sure is the same with other places, or it will become the same as other places, is checking to see if you're actually in a smoke control zone, which we're not, which is great. But some places, especially in bigger cities, have smoke control zones, which means you can't just burn any type of wood, you've got to burn like smokeless fuels and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more complicated. But getting a stove's not a problem. Generally, you know, if you're retrofitting it to a house like this, you do need planning permission. Obviously this thing could, you know, set your house on fire if it's not sort of sorted out properly. So that can be a little bit costly. That's a little bit costly for us in the beginning. But obviously because I was in the trade, you know, absolutely plenty of help and experience, you know, for that. But that's something you've really got to think about. And obviously, you know, I really go with the stone idea because the fire heats up that stone, which is awesome, and leaves it like that. But there's also that sort of track to where your chimney is going to go. And again, retrofitting into a house like this that doesn't have a chimney as such, we've had to go up and through our bedroom, up into the attic and out the roof. And even with the chimney, there's regulations of that as well. I'm sure that the regulations will start to apply sort of all over the world, because it can be dangerous. You know, you have to go into a twin wall chimney once you go through a combustible surface and stuff like that, and up you go. And you know, it has to terminate at a certain point on the roof, and you know, there's all sorts of little things like that. You know, a heating engineer can sort of do all that for you. But the one pitfall people have is they don't seem to realise, you know, obviously that's why there's professionals to educate people, is that you know, you need to have a really good wood store. Wood, if you've got a chimney like that, really needs to be cured for a year. You know, absolutely dried out, you know. So what you have is a store for your wood where you're drying stuff out, and you've got your store where you're actually using. And obviously each year you switch around, you know, because that's going to be ready now. And the reason for that is if you really are burning wood that's got a lot of moisture, it'll eat away at your chimney. And the chimney's not cheap. Sometimes the chimney can be dearer than the stove itself. And that really will absolutely destroy it. So before you get a stove put into the house, you've really got to think about that. You've got to think about, you know, what kind of log store we're going to have. And if you've seen previous videos, we've obviously got one log store up closer to the house, and we've got a log store down in the garden there. But I'll tell you guys, when we come to finish the house, I'm going to have another one up here. It depends on the wood you've got, it really will go through it, you know, it really, really will. But guys, when it comes to the multi-fuel stove, it's a no-brainer really, you know, that's sort of like your next step, as it were, you know, when it comes to you really wanting to heat your house and save a lot of money. Yeah, so that's the essentials, the controls, guys. It just applies throughout any heating system really, you know, it really does make a difference. And obviously when the boiler's not on, it's not using electricity. That's a 28 kilowatt boiler, so that's a lot of electricity saving as well. Control is absolutely everything. If you do go for a wood burning stove, you know, you always sort of recommend a multi-fuel as opposed to a wood burner, you know, so that you can burn sort of different stuff, you know, like coal or whatever, you know. I think that'll probably start getting phased out though, you know. Basically what you call, why, you know, a wood burner is renewable is because it's carbon neutral. In other words, whatever you burn, you know, is being replaced by 3 new trees, as it were, you know, where it came from. And the carbon dioxide, you know, sucked in by the trees to what you're doing is carbon neutral. So it's going to be a good way for the future. But more recently, you know, just before I stepped down to do this work, you know, I was working part-time for a renewable company. And I'd done a lot of solar thermal panels by this time, and air source heat pumps and gas and oil boilers, and just, you know, just everything you can sort of think of actually. But when I went to plumbing and renewables, to my pals Mark and Jill, that was very specific to renewables. and they were very specific to your renewables. And guys, you know, we sort of found just off the bat that if you're building a house, I know a lot of it's regulation now, but if you're building a house, it's best to put these in then, because it is costly. You know, a decent air source heat pump system could be 10 grand. A decent one when it comes to ground source probably about 20 grand, you know, so fitted. So that's a lot. And you almost sort of want to lump that in with your mortgage or whatever it is, how you've sort of financed. So retrofitting's not as easy, but air source heat pumps have come along, you know, really, really well. And what they obviously work as, guys, is basically a back to front fridge. You know, that's what the fridge is doing to make it cool. Air source heat pump makes it warm, and that's it. The sort of downsides to them is that they do run on quite a low temperature, so you tend to have quite oversized radiators. They work best for underfloor heating, but of course, you know, I'd have to rip up the floors, and I'm not going to do that in this place, you know, hopefully in the next place. But air source heat pumps are certainly the way to go. And of course, air source heat pumps are really run on electricity. So if you do have solar panels that are photovoltaic, you know, that are helping out the house, that'll cut down the cost too. But one of the systems I really want to speak to you about, and this one I really want to share, because I would say, especially in our area, in our sort of area of things, the best heating systems you can actually put into the house is what we call a thermal store. I did tons of these, guys, you know, and they are awesome. If it can be done, I could probably put a thermal store in this house. It would take a bit of pipe work and, you know, the solar panels and all that sort of stuff. But basically a thermal store is like a hot water cylinder, but except it's back to front. Normally in a hot water cylinder you have your hot water for showering and all that sort of stuff, but with this it actually contains the body of your heating water that goes round your underfloor heating system or your radiators or whatever like that, you know. And that's what's in there. Now the bottom coil tends to be the solar coil. So it's already preheating the water. You'll see where I'm going with this. It's already preheating that water. Obviously at night it's going to go down. During the daytime it's going to, you know, really be pumping. And I'll tell you guys, the heat that comes off that, I mean, I saw the pipes are, boy, I mean, absolutely way hot, you know, really, really hot. You had to use sticks of silver solder, you know, in certain occasions. Obviously you get press fit fittings and all that sort of stuff now. But it will then do the majority of your heating in hot water. Because inside the thermal store, there's a coil at the top like that, and the fresh water runs through for the house, and goes through the coil, gets heated up and out it goes, to the showers and whatever else. And of course, we used to have to size these properly for the size of the house. But that's not where it ends. You can actually link in your multi-fuel stove as well. You can also put a coil in for your gas boiler or your oil boiler or whatever. And the idea then is, guys, you know, that when the solar's pumping, absolutely brilliant, great. But it's not always like that for all of us. So when the summer kind of ends and you start using your stove again, you've got two connections that go into the thermal store itself, and now you're getting it off the multi-fuel stove, which heats up in no time at all. So that means your entire heating system and your hot water system is being controlled by just a multi-fuel stove with a flow and return pipe. It's just such an awesome way of doing things, you know. And the idea, what you're always trying to do, is push the air source heat pump or the gas boiler or the oil boiler right into the background. So it's only ever used if it's really needed. You want the solar, which is just running on one little pump, you know, and another pump to pump it around the system. You want that to be pumping as much as you possibly can. Colder months, you get the multi-fuel stove on. If you've got it on all evening, even trickling during the night, guys, you know, you're going to wake up with free heating and hot water in the morning. The thermal stores are quite expensive. You know, I remember, you know, those coiled cylinders, easily £1,500 to begin with, you know. So over the course of the life of it, though, the saving is absolutely phenomenal, you know. And the other great thing about the thermal store is, as well, as it's future proof. You know, so if there's new boilers coming out, like the hydrogen fuel cell boilers and stuff like that, you know, you'll be future proofed for the future, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of these things are expensive, and you've got to kind of weigh up the differences. You know, we've got a smaller house, like a 3 to 4 bedroom house, you know, and throwing on, you know, big solar panels on the roof and thermal stores and stuff, it's a bit overkill when you think about it. That stove, when it's on, heats a house, and that's great, you know, it's really good. I could actually get some hot water off of that if I really wanted. And that's pretty much it for this house. I think anything more would be overkill, a little bit overkill. But hopefully when we move on, we'll be sort of starting from scratch. And if we get to do it that way, then obviously that's what I'm going to do. We're going to put in a thermal store, we're going to have the solar thermal panels, photovoltaic, multi-fuel, ground source heat pump maybe if we can afford it, and underfloor heating. And again, guys, again, when we go to building new houses and stuff like that, I think pretty much now most people are very aware that underfloor heating is the way to go, because it's brilliantly efficient. You can run it in a really low temperature, so even the thermal store doesn't need to do a lot of work. It doesn't need to lose a lot to heat the house. You're obviously getting that lovely sort of feel from where the body's most comfortable is the heat at the floor, but cooler at your head. That's what you want. Obviously a little bit different with radiators, the way they convect the air. But with the underfloor heating, it is really, really comfortable. Running at a low temperature, every inch of the floor is getting hot. You don't really get mold or dust mites or anything like that, so that's a really great addition. So just some other tips as well, I think that the idea is, guys, with this video is that every house is different. You've got to sort of be very, very aware of that. So you're really sharing the things that are essential to every household. And again, programmable room starts zoning the house off, to make it really efficient to what you're doing. But it's also little things, guys, and you look at it over the course of 12 months. And you think, right, with a bath, for example. Now, I know that most people, when it comes to baths, is you fire the bath on, you fill it right up to, maybe where it's just about to come out. And then, it's too hot, so you put cold in. Well, that's really not efficient. On your boiler, you can turn down the temperature of the hot water that's coming up and going to there. And generally what we forget as well is when we actually sit in the water level rises. So you only have to fill it up so much. But generally, the girls, they obviously need proper baths, maybe once a week or something. But when it comes to showers, for example, kids can be, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and there's absolutely no need for that at all. So the kids are limited to maybe 5-10 minutes, which is great. They're just in and out, and that's it. It's just the way our family home is. Same again with me and Sharon, 5-10 minutes, and we're in and out, sort of thing. When you count that up over the year, that is a lot of savings. You could cut your, that part of your bill in half by just doing those things alone, because your hot water, your baths, your bathing, that's a big thing in the house. It can sometimes take more gas or oil than the heating system itself, but that is hugely important. Oh, now I almost forgot, and I really need to put this into the video here, guys, is the central heating magnetic filter. This in itself can save a lot of money just through efficiency. One of the issues that you can have, with the system is this build-up within the radiators of sludge and all sorts of stuff. And basically, you could put in the greatest heating system in the world. If the radiators are all clogged up, it's an absolute waste of time sort of thing. So something like the Fernox TF1 filter is awesome. I put this in years ago, and what it has is a big magnet inside. And it's just on I think it's your return pipe on this one. And inside it takes all the rubbish and all the bits and pieces and takes it in. And I'll tell you guys, see when you open this and you pull out the magnet, it's unreal, the kind of dirt that can be. Now that means, guys, that it'll keep your system really clean, which is awesome. And again, that's you back to saving money on gas. The cleaner your system is, the more efficient it's going to be. It's going to heat the house up quicker, switch the boiler off earlier. That is a no-brainer. I don't know how much they are these days, but that was certainly one of the great things that we put into the house. Yeah, and of course, we're focusing quite a lot on the heating system, but there's also electric as well. Now, you'll probably hear the fish tank coughing behind us, or the aquarium, I should say. One of the great things to have in your house, and they're very simple, you can get them for like £5 or $10, whatever they are timers on the plugs, or plug timers themselves. And that means I've got full control over the aquarium. It needs heat all the time, obviously. It's set to like 19 degrees or whatever. But the light doesn't need to be on all the time. So it's set on a timer to come on and off when we need it. And again, that's Monday to Friday, Saturday to Sunday. Monday to Friday, we're not in the house in the mornings and stuff. There's no need for the light to be on. Sometimes it's on at lunchtime for the children and kids, because they like the fish. Then it goes off in the afternoon, comes on in the evening for a little while, and then it's off again. Again, the reptiles are the same. They've got their little heat pads, they've got our lights or whatever. Timers. Again, over that 12-month period, you see what you'd save. Just have a real think about it. If a light's on for 8 hours a day and you cut it down to 4 hours a day, well, that's in half, isn't it? And you don't have to do it just like that either. For example, when it comes to the dishwasher and the washing machine, another sort of big one, as it were, we tend to have them set and running during the night, because I think most countries would be the same. You've got a kind of off-peak hours where electricity is actually cheaper. So our dishwasher and washing machine go on at like 3 in the morning, I think. I think that's when they actually come on. And again, guys, just simple little things like turning off lights behind you and closing doors of the house that you're not really using and little things like that. But guys, if you can't do all these little things, it makes a huge difference. People start throwing in solar panels and solar thermal and all that sort of stuff. Do these things first. See your energy bills come down first. See how much they come down by. And then you can look at it and say, something, the energy bills are there, it's still like solar thermal. Great. A solar thermal system might cost $5,000. And you've got to recoup that through the savings you're going to have in your heat and electricity. And you really then have to weigh it up and think, well, is it really worth it? But again, it's different households, different situations. Here we're hoping to sell the house, so we'll most likely take out the gas boiler and put in an air source heat pump just out the back. Upgrade a few of the radiators to bigger sizes, and that should be great, because we really have to now. But that's us. If we stayed in this house going to stay in this house for a long time, guys, I'd be putting in a thermal store. I'm 45, I hope I'll still be alive for the next 30 years, But that's really what you've got to weigh up. Yeah, so thankfully, guys, you can't really take credit for the knowledge that you have. I was taught by one of the best, there's no question about it. We put heating systems in great big estates in Elgin, the new houses, hotels, just whatever you can think of, we sort of did it, And it was great being taught by the best. I think if any of the guys are watching just now, I miss our customers big style, the plumbing and heating engineers and stuff like that. And of course, because of COVID, we haven't sort of been in contact with many for a while, so hopefully once all this moves past, that'll be great. But hopefully, guys, just imparting a little bit of wisdom I've been given, and I hope you can see from the video how many things you can actually do to save money before you actually even start spending it. And again, guys, do these things first, the cheap stuff, programmable room starts, maybe zone the house if you can, stuff like that, and then see the energy bills drop, and then see if you want to take it that stage further and start doing other things. If you're building, it's a no-brainer, underfloor heating, hopefully the latest heating system, ground source, air source, or whatever. But obviously the thermal stores really are future-proof, guys. And hopefully having explained that just shows you how efficient they can be, pushing the things that cost in the background by using the solar and multi-fuel, or whichever way around you sort of do it, But again, every house is different. It's something you've sort of got to look at yourself. But hopefully out of this video, we'll pick the bits that sort of apply to you, and that's it. So anyway, guys, I'm going to do a little bit of an extended video, just a bit of family stuff and get the boiler back up and running. So you're more than welcome to stay for that. But if not, thank you so much for watching. Again, guys, if you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking, that would be awesome. Hitting the notifications, you'll get all our videos with motorbike vlogs and camping and fishing and all sorts of stuff that we do as a family, But I just really hope this is helpful. I know it's a bit concerning when the gas and electricity prices and oil prices go up, This is the way to really move forward in that, to saving yourself a lot of money on the monthly. Yes, if you're still with us, guys, I hope you enjoy this next phase of the video. I'm going to try and get this boiler back up and running, get the stove back on, give you a wee look at the animals again, see what we're up to and whatnot. But, guys, this is sort of saving in itself. For us, again, we're in a bit of a different situation, hopefully selling the house in 12 months' time. So I'd rather change the boiler then and just sort of try and muck about with it just now. Guys, I would never touch the gas side of this at all. That's got to be a heating engineer. But we seem to be sort of emptied out now. There's nothing sort of dripping at all now. So what I've done, and obviously I've done it already, we've tightened up that bit. I'm going to put in some exhaust paste into there, and it takes about 12 hours to dry or something like that. Hopefully I'll get the paste in and clean, and that'll do that. And obviously when the boiler fires up, it'll cure that, which will be absolutely great. Yes, let's see if we can get this all dried up and cleaned now. Need to get this really, really dry to put on the fixing paste. Here's my Billy dog. How you doing, sweetheart? It's almost lunchtime as well, guys. I'm pretty flipping hungry again. Yeah, it's just some other thoughts again, guys, just saving energy and whatnot. I mean, we're obviously going to get our double glazed doors done, double glazed windows and doors done, you know, before we leave. They're double glazed at the moment, but they're not of sort of today's quality, you know. But also insulation, roof insulation, really important as well. And you can actually get, if you look back on some of the videos, really thin foil insulation for the floor, which is great as well. And that's all to do with heat loss. The more insulated a room, smaller radiator you need, or smaller whatever else that you need, and obviously the boiler doesn't have to do that much work to get it. So, you know, insulation all the way. Yeah, so we'll get the fire on soon, eh? Get the system all fired back up again. Yeah. That'll be awesome, but I think it's bacon, eh? Bacon time. A wild camping favourite of ours, eh, son? So, bacon time for me and the boy, Bales. Bacon all the way. Now this is what we call ham o'clock, isn't it, Bales? Eh? Get a wee bit of ham. Yeah, just at this time of day I normally have like a wrap or something, but since the kids are on holiday I'll maybe just have some bacon. But Bailey always knows it's ham o'clock. And we would never feed you tidbits and stuff. We'd be rubbish, sweets, all that sort of stuff. But fresh meat's not a big deal. Yeah? Oh, it's going to be good. And young Emily has arrived.
Hello.
Hello. She's on her holidays at the moment, obviously, aren't you, honey? Oh yeah. So what were we on, Ems? 4 slices?
Yes.
Is that what the cracker jack is today? Oh. Now, I don't know where we got this bacon from, but it's very thick stuff, guys. And here we go. Yeah, it is pretty thick, this stuff, but it's a bit on the stringy side. Try to fathom out why that is. So here they go, look. Hello, on their holidays. Now I think by the time we share this video will be the following week and we'll be in Loch Ness, won't we? The Loch Ness video's coming. Yeah. And there it goes, is that better, guys? Wee bit of bacon, bit of 7-Up, tropical crush.
And a bit of YouTube.
But you're still a bit cold, so I have to get this heating system fixed, eh? Yeah. Guys, just to finish off the video, I think we'll build a fire quick when we can get it on. Because it's all drying through the house, isn't it? All the thing will fill the boiler back up and get her going. But for the meantime, I'm going to have to get this fire going. So guys, very quickly, I'm just going to sort of burn through this, as it were. Obviously different types of wood, but you do need to have them seasoned. You know, obviously different sizes and all sorts of things, you know. But they need to be seasoned for at least a year. But guys, there's very cheap ways of grabbing decent wood that will burn that little bit longer. For example, pallet corners. They're awesome. They're really good. They'll burn for ages and ages. Obviously what you want is proper logs. They'll burn for ages too. And I use quite a lot of the old scrap wood, you know, from DIY jobs and all sorts of stuff like that. Again, it might look dry. Still good to season it as well. That'll burn for a bit as well. And obviously all the scrappy little bits of wood and kindling and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, so having a fire, like a multi-fuel stove, it isn't the cleanest of things. It's good to have this hearth, you know, up on here. But it's never going to be like a really clean job, you know. And we'll maybe empty it out. You know, we'll riddle all this stuff into here. There's bits of nails. That's the only downside to pallets, is bits of that. But we'll riddle this to make a bed first. Yeah, so nothing much to it really when it comes to it, guys. Just going to get this thing filled up with paper to make a nice bed. So next, I mean, look at this, old louver doors from me and Sharon's bedroom. Goodness me, I think I took them out about 3 years ago. But they make great kindling to start the fire. They're really good. Obviously, again, been dried for a very long time, so it's going to be fine. Yeah, just a bit of crisscross to begin with, just to get a bit of airflow. Just all helps getting the fire all started nice, you know. Looking good. I like putting a sort of bigger one at the back, and it sort of stops the flames rushing up the chimney too much. That's the first lot, and then back to it. Look at this again. Goodness me, this is a garden furniture. I think I chopped up from lockdown last year. So get rid of all of that. Yes, that's the pallet corner popped in as well, which is good. And look at that, Emily's old wardrobe. How am I going to get that in there? This is good, so it'll all fall together, you see, once it starts moving. And of course this is what we use for a really easy start to the fire. It's not so good using sort of fluid that really gives off a lot of vapours, because you can leave it for a few seconds, then go to light it and just take your eyebrows off, so you've got to be quite careful. But those pallet ends should burn very well. We used them at the wild camping and they were awesome. Hey Bales, you're still not sure about the fire, are you? She's only a year old, you see. Yeah, but we really need to clean these doors. I mean, we'll have to get new ones, but we'll have to get these doors cleaned. Maybe do that in the next job. There we go. Turn it up to its full to make sure the air's getting in really nicely. And what I tend to do, just to get us going, is just leave a little gap in the doorway. Just a little bit. To try and get it really moving. You can also pull out the side section as well. Oh, we're looking good. I just need to turn this down a little bit, because it is getting quite, because the wood's sort of quicker burning wood, it's going to, catch up really quickly. I don't want the flames howling up the chimney. So let's turn it down for a little bit and have a look. But basically now we'll keep this on all day, and it should get the house quite warm tonight, so that we can fill the system back up tomorrow. And hopefully that'll be that problem solved. Yes, obviously young Spike the bearded dragon will really like the heat, but his food won't, so I'll have to take that off. And obviously guys, leaving stuff up on top, it can get pretty hot, and of course that's what you want, I've still got a couple of little bits to put on here to finish it off, a couple of heat shields. But it's also a very good addition, guys, when you actually have like a cup of water or a bowl of water, and that just sends the, a bit of moisture into the room as well, which is really good. Yeah, still got to finish off the tile in there. That's actually a railway sleeper, believe it or not. Really nice, reconditioned. So here he goes, saving the day again. Our heating's down, but he's not. So that's pretty much it then, you guys, eh? Nice wee video, I think. Now we're on to supper time, obviously. It's the days we're on. Oh, have I got garlic bread tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. It's a bit of chicken and rice. No, David's having his pizza.
And look what we're doing on Minecraft.
Let's have a look.
This is my Mars hub. This is Emma's Mars hub.
Oh, right, okay.
Then why don't we do this under?
Now, the reason I'm finishing the video off in here is just another little advertisement for David and Emily's Birnie Family Fun YouTube channel for kids. And you guys pretty much do everything, don't you? 24-hour challenges, gaming, Minecraft, oh, me quad bikes, horses.
I'm wondering why we're not uploading this.
Oh.
Because we're not wanting to film this.
Ah, right, okay. And normally they film all these things, guys, you see. But yeah, so guys, listen, thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, if you would give us a wee like, subscribe and all that, that'd be absolutely awesome.
Subscribe and subscribe.
What am I supposed to say? Go for it, David.
You need to make sure to like and subscribe. Put on post notifications so you never miss out on any of our new uploaded videos.
There you go, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Loads more videos to come. God bless.